Morning and welcome to my 19-week video. I made another shorter video too. It's really brief, just a few seconds long, that shows the bump. For those of you that are interested in following that, just a few facts about where the baby is at developmentally. The baby is now 6 inches long, has hair sprouting, so that's fun, and weighs about 8.5 ounces, so a little bit more than half a pound. There were some questions this week, so I will definitely get to those. I realized in my last video, I forgot to say that me and my partner finally came to an agreement about a name. So we're going to name the baby Phoenix. We really wanted to go with, as I've been talking about, a gender neutral name. Because I'm lucky enough to have a gender neutral name. I'm really grateful for that I never felt like I hated it or like I wanted to change it. And I think that's a, if you can, that's a nice thing to do for your child, because you just, you never know. And Phoenix sounds cool. So I'm trying to think if I have anything to talk about. I mean, like in my own life, I went to an equality march to sort of both support the LGBT community, but it was also like a protest, and it was sort of specifically targeted as a response to the Pulse nightclub incident where 49 people were brutally slaughtered for their identities in Florida about a year ago. So that was fun, but I got sunburnt so easily. Like I was only in direct sunlight for like 2 hours, and it just like fried my chest and my face. And apparently some people are more sensitive to sunlight when they're pregnant. So, fun fact: sunscreen is extra important, and you might burn up if you stand in direct sunlight for too long, as I found out the hard way. Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't know. Nothing comes immediately to mind. So I'm just going to start talking about different questions that were asked, and if I think of other things that seem interesting, I will share them. Uh, I was asked, why did I choose to have a baby myself rather than like adopting or using a surrogate. So I said that first of all, it was the most or rather the most accessible and inexpensive option, because surrogacy and adoption they're difficult. There's a lengthy process involved, and they're expensive for sure. But I think both of those are really beautiful options. And later in life, if I'm in the position to be able to, I'm definitely interested in like adopting a third child. Um, so and then also, I'd had a baby before, so I knew what it would be like. I think I think if it's your first time and you've not excuse me, and you've never done it before, it can feel really daunting. Not to say that I'm not daunted by it, because I certainly am, but I it was like completely foreign to me. So I guess it was easier to sort of wrap my head around what it might be like, and I think that made me feel like more of a level of like control in that decision making process. So I think that helped me to feel like it was an easier decision to make, if that makes sense. And then like, well, pregnancy has its challenging moments, especially this one, because this morning sickness is just ridiculous. It really is. It's like half the week I feel like I'm dying, and then the other half of the week I feel fine. Not that I could ever eat very much at a time, though. I do just keep losing weight this whole pregnancy. And just so you know, like that can be perfectly normal. Like there's there's this there's this idea that you have to gain weight while you're pregnant. And a lot of people do, and that's perfectly healthy. And a lot of people are advised to gain like 25 to 30 pounds. But depending on like what weight you start at or what stuff you might have symptomatically going on, like if you don't gain a whole lot of weight, or if you lose weight, or even if you gain more weight than you're supposed to, like there's a wide range of normal. And I think that's important to mention. But I have just like lost weight this whole pregnancy. So there's been that, but at the same time, and different people are going to have their different challenges with pregnancy, right? It's definitely not all peaches and cream all of the time, but there are also things that I really love about it. Like I enjoy feeling the baby move. That's really nice, and it makes me feel really close to the baby and really close to this experience. And I also enjoy how close my husband is able to feel to the baby. You know, he gets the joy of watching my belly grow, and he also gets to come with me to appointments and see ultrasounds, and we both get to experience this degree of closeness that wouldn't be there in the same way, I don't think. I'm not saying that there might not be different, like alternative forms of closeness, but because I don't know, I've never had either one of those experiences. And I imagine with both of them, there's a great range of what that experience might look and feel like. But I feel like when you have a baby this way, there is an inherent level of closeness that both you and your partner get to experience. And that's nice. So that's another reason why I felt empowered to make this choice, and like it was something I'd be able to do. I also got asked, and I think I've answered this before, but it's okay. I don't mind answering it again. If we conceived naturally, or if we needed to use some sort of fertility service, or but we just conceived traditionally. Um, and I was asked again to how long I was off testosterone before trying to conceive. 3 months, and that I think I've answered this before too, but again, that's fine. Um, I'm pretty sure that that's like kind of the across the you know average. There are definitely people who take longer than that, and there are people who are able to get their cycle back sooner as well. But 3 months seems to be sort of the typical length of time that it takes for your cycle really to be regular after you stop testosterone, and that seems to be the length of time that most doctors agree that you're back to having a mostly estrogen dominated system that would be safe for catering to and facilitating a pregnancy. All right. I'm just reading these questions on here to see what else there is that I haven't mentioned yet. So, someone asked if I was gonna share the reasons why we chose the name for the baby that we did, and if I would show the birth. People do ask periodically about how much of the birth I'll show. I honestly don't know yet. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about it, and then I also don't know how that day is going to unfold. So like I know for sure I want to try and make at least one video while I'm in labor. Um, um, but I don't know how much I'll be in a mind space for making videos as that process goes along, and if I do, how much of them I would want to share. So I'm not sure, but there'll definitely be some stuff about the birth, even if it's just a video afterwards talking about the whole thing. And hopefully, like I said, I'll get one because I want to be able to talk about it a little bit while it's happening. I'll probably be earlier on labor and not like hardcore birthing labor. That is an ungodly pain. Like, I've never felt pain like that in my life. So I don't know if I'll like be able to make a video about during that period of time, but I don't know. We'll see. Um, let's see. It will definitely help if I don't have to have the baby in a hospital for sure. Like if I'm at home, or if I end up being able to find a location close enough to the hospital to be able, because my house is too far away. And there is one possibility that might end up working out, but I still don't know. There are a few pieces in the air. So I might get stuck at the hospital, but have my midwife with me. But that would still, and if that is the environment that I'm in, I think that will probably make you know making videos a little bit more prohibitive, and it will definitely make me feel in a shut down mind space, which is part of the reason I don't want to be in a hospital, right? Because I don't want to be feeling shut down during the experience of having this baby. But okay, what else? Um, People ask why I'm not kind of like reluctant in these videos, or at least it comes off like I am, to like show the bump or like physical changes of pregnancy. And I guess it's just sort of like it is, I guess, a little bit awkward because I'd have to like move off screen and position it. It's easier to just do the separate video like I did. But I also have I don't know, like it's hard for me to make these videos at all, actually. Like I feel this super shyness about making them, and I feel a ton of anxiety build up but before like the days when I do them. And I think it feels like an even more increased degree of anxiety if I'm like gonna walk away from where I'm sitting right now and stand and try and position myself and then come. I don't know. It just maybe I'm just an uptight personality. I'm not sure, but yeah, I guess that's my sort of partial rambly answer to that question. I don't really have like an articulate answer to it other than it just makes me uncomfortable. Um, Somebody asked, how do these physical changes affect me mentally? Um, one part of me really likes the increasing bump because it makes me feel closer to the baby, but I also feel an increasing like vulnerability. I don't want to say insecurity because it's not really the right word because I don't feel this feeling at all when I'm like in a space without other people or like when I'm in a space at home. So I know that it's related to like safety and like other people and feeling exposed more so than like a body, dysphoria or dysmorphia issue. But it does make me feel a little bit more exposed, I guess. Like, and I don't think anyone is actually going to look at me and think that's what it is. I think they'll just think it's like a beer gut or whatever. But there is like an emotional undercurrent a little bit that increases, I guess, with the size of the pregnancy. Uh, and I think the biggest thing I've had an emotional reaction to was like I talked about in some of my earlier videos was that unexpected chest tissue development because I didn't have a complete double mastectomy that didn't end up being the situation or the opportunity that I had. I had an opportunity for like an extreme breast reduction, and there was a little bit of tissue left in each one, which pregnancy like hormonally motivated to develop into more than it was, and it's still not a whole lot, but it was still not something I was expecting, and it felt out of my control, and it's not something I certainly would have wanted, and so there's that. But I think that was probably the most difficult piece of it so far, and honestly, I'm kind of getting over it a little bit. I'm getting used to it, and I think that after the swelling that goes along with it goes away, it might end up being like barely noticeable to me when all is said and done because I will have just it's not as much as it seems like right now. That's the first thing, and it's not that much at all, really. I mean, I'm sure nobody but me even notices it, and then once, like I said, once swelling goes down, then yeah. So I'm sure it will be fine. But that was difficult for me to deal with, and that isn't even an ongoing thing, just like a bump. Um, Trying to think about any other physical elements of the pregnancy that have like had like an emotional effect on me. Um, I guess I'm tired more. I am like, oh, I mean, I wake up early anyways. I'm usually up by like 5 or 5:30. But before I got pregnant, I could be up till like 11:30, and now like 9 rolls around, and I am so exhausted. Like I almost can't not fall asleep. That's how tired I am. Which is fine. I mean, sometimes I feel bad or guilty because I'm not able to stay up and do things or go out and see people because I'm just too exhausted. But that it hasn't, it's not unexpected, and it hasn't been like terrible or anything. Um, there's the morning sickness. I mean, that's been a drag. I hate feeling nauseous all the time. I hate how hard it is to eat. I hate how like I feel hungry all the time, but at the same time, like every food in the world sounds repulsive to me. So it's just like this feeling. Like I can't even really describe it. It's just this constant like uncomfortability in like my digestive system. So I'll be glad when that's over with. Um, what else? There's like some dull cramping that you feel a lot, and I've been feeling it more now because now the fetus is growing like half an inch every week, and so like your uterus has to keep up with that, and your ligaments have to stretch, and it's a strain on your body. So there's like this dull cramping that I feel that I used to feel off and on, and now I feel it like a lot, like at least like once for a chunk of time every day. I feel it, and sometimes there are like these like sharp pains that go like along the side of my abdomen and up towards my back, and that's these ligaments that connect to your spine and wrap around your abdomen that support all of that tissue and kind of help hold it in place. And that's them, sort of protesting to that stretching. I'm starting to feel more of a strain on my lower back where those vertebrae are being pulled in by this stretching process. And then I'm getting more of what I've heard people refer to as lightning crotch. And I think it's a very apt description. So is my midwife. I think like finds it hilarious. It is pretty funny. I don't know where it came from or where it starts from, but I see it's obviously not like in, what to expect when you're expecting, but it does seem like language that a lot of people who have had a baby before used to describe this sensation, and it does just feel like electric shocks, like in your like crotch and like up towards your pelvis. That's really uncomfortable when it happens, and I'm not sure exactly what that is. If it's just like obviously your nervous system is also going to be affected by the stretching and pulling. I don't know if that's like the sensation of pinched nerves. I mean, it could be. That would make sense because it does feel like, it does feel like electricity. That's the best way to describe it. And organically, I'm not sure what would be going on to cause that sensation. So it does make sense that maybe it's a pinched nerve or something, but I honestly don't know. I'm just guessing. And I haven't like spent a whole lot of time looking up online. Maybe I will. Maybe next week we'll discuss what lightning crotch is. Um, any other physical changes that I can think of? Not really. I guess like there's the heightened sensitivity, like emotionally. Not that it's not that it's not that bad though. Like it's not. I don't feel like it's like affected my personality. I don't feel like other people notice it. It hasn't affected my ability to like control myself or like maintain myself. But I do feel like internally I react more to things or I'm more sensitive to things. um and definitely empathy wise like I find myself having very strong like emotional reactions to things that relate to empathy, um which makes sense. My brain probably is turning up those hormones. When a newborn baby wakes you up a bajillion times in the night for the first 6 months of its life, a lot of empathy is very helpful in terms of fostering that bond and giving you the patience and understanding that you need to be able to get through, your baby adjusting to the world. Um, and then also that with that sensitivity is like a sensitivity to smells and tastes and sounds, you know, and with the general like just dis-ease, anything I feel like I'm just sort of more predisposed like in this state to like have be like overwhelmed by something or nauseated by something or it's just a it's I have to put a little bit more effort into feeling okay and healthy and positive. It's a little bit more effort I feel like I have to put into my days, but it's not an extreme effort by any means, and it's not something that I mind doing. But life definitely is asking a little bit more of you, I think, in a lot of ways when you're pregnant. I think that that is all of the questions. I think so. Yeah. At least all the ones from the 18 weeks video. I mean, if you posted a question on a different wall and I didn't notice it or mention it, I'm sorry. And you can always repost it again too. That, that will help me see it and be more likely to respond to it. And you can always email questions as well, however you want to do that. Um, I think that's all that I have to talk about for now. Like I said, there's also that short video if you want to see where the bump's at, because it has grown for sure in the last 2 weeks. And it will continue to grow more now at a noticeable rate because, like I said, the fetus grows a half inch now every week, and that amount only increases as the pregnancy goes on. Um, Alrighty. I will see you next week.